She tried to claim my Rolls-Royce as community property, said her title as HOA president gave her the right to seize it. I laughed until she zip-tied a tag that read, "Property of Willow Crest HOA," right onto the hood ornament. That was the moment I knew this wasn't about a car. It was about control. I'm Ron Freeman. I build things for a living, bridges, machines, anything that follows logic. 2 years ago, I rebuilt something that didn't. A 1962 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud, my grandfather's car. I restored every inch of it, the chrome, the leather, the soul. When the engine finally purred again, I thought I'd resurrected a piece of family history. What I didn't know was that I'd also awakened the neighborhood tyrant, Karen Goodson, our self-appointed queen of Willow Crest. HOA, every neighborhood's got one right, the lady with a clipboard and a mission to keep every mailbox the same shade of beige. She smiled like a church volunteer and ruled like a dictator. The morning she saw my car, I was just sipping coffee in the driveway. She walked over in her pink cardigan, squinting at the rolls like it was a threat. "Freeman." "What's this?" "A car," I said, still half asleep. "Don't get smart. Section 8, Clause 3, non-operational vehicles may not remain visible for over 60 days. I smiled. "It runs." "Want to hear it?" That was the wrong answer. She pulled out her clipboard, scribbled something, and hung that ridiculous tag from the hood ornament. I remember thinking, this woman just zip-tied British royalty. Pam, my wife, was filming from the porch. She whispered, "She's lost her damn mind." I shrugged. Nah, just power drunk. But when the HOA newsletter came out 2 days later with a blurry photo of my car under the title "Code Violations in Willow Crest," I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a declaration of war. The first fine came that week, $1,000 for tampering with HOA property. Tampering with my own car. Then a second notice if I didn't pay, they'd tow the vehicle. Pam laughed when she read it. "She's bluffing," she said. I wasn't so sure. Karen didn't bluff. She performed. One rainy morning, I heard the rumble of a tow truck outside. Karen stood there with her umbrella like she was directing traffic at a crime scene. "You've had your chance, Mr. Freeman," she shouted. "We're removing it." I walked out calm as I could, pulled my truck across the driveway, and attached my winch to the front bumper of the Rolls. The tow operator, a tired guy who looked like he'd seen too much, hesitated. "Sir, I don't get paid enough for this," Karen barked. "Do it." The engine of the tow truck roared, the cable went taut, the rain poured harder. Then snap. The steel line whipped, one of her precious lawn ornaments shattered, and the operator just threw up his hands. "Lady, I'm out." He dropped the paperwork in the mud and drove off. Karen stood, frozen mascara streaking down her cheeks. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. That night she sent me another letter accusing me of endangering HOA officials. I laughed, but it was the kind of laugh you do to stop yourself from screaming. A few nights later, the power went out. Total blackout. Then I heard footsteps near the fence. 2 men whispering. One said, "Karen said it's easy. Just roll it down the hill." My stomach dropped. Pam flipped on the cameras. The night vision caught everything, the fence shaking, one guy tripping over the hose. I locked the gate from the inside and grabbed my phone. "Hey, 911, I said, I've got 2 gentlemen lost in my backyard. One sitting by the garden gnome drinking my grape juice." The cops came fast. Turns out one of the intruders was Karen's cousin. They confessed she'd offered them $100 to relocate the car before morning. When the officers took statements, I just stood there in disbelief. What kind of person risks jail time over an HOA grudge? For the first time I felt tired, really tired. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe I should just sell the damn house and go somewhere without committees or bylaws. I sat in the dark garage, the rolls gleaming faintly under a flashlight, and asked myself, is this worth it? Then I saw a photo taped inside the hood. Me and my grandfather, greasy hands, wide smiles, the car just a skeleton of metal. He'd written on the back, "If something's worth building, it's worth defending." That was my turning point. I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Pam and I gathered everything, emails, letters, camera footage, voice recordings, even the zip tie tag. We compiled it all into one neat little folder titled Karen versus Logic. Pam laughed. "It's a short war. But we didn't stop there. I filed a formal complaint with the State Housing Board. Pam found HOA financial records, public documents, if you know where to look. That's when we struck gold, a $10,000 consulting expense paid to someone with the same last name as Karen's cousin. The next HOA meeting was packed. Word had spread. Neighbors wanted blood, or at least accountability. Karen opened the meeting like a politician, under pressure, plaster smile and shaking hands. "Let's maintain civility," she said. I stood up. "I'll try." I played the video of her zip-tying my car. Gasps. Then the footage of the tow truck, then the break-in, then the cousin's confession. The room went silent, except for Karen's heavy breathing. I said, "That's my property. That's my family's legacy. And that's your signature on every single fine." She stammered, "You manipulated." Before she could finish, Arthur, the HOA treasurer, stood up. The man looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. "She spent $10,000 from the maintenance fund," he said, voice trembling, to pay her cousin. The receipts matched the date of the break-in. Karen's face drained of color. Someone in the back shouted, "You're done." "Karen." "Another resign." The room erupted. The vice president slammed his gavel. All in favor of removing Mrs. Goodson from office. Every hand shot up. Then, as if on cue, the police officer from the break-in walked in with a warrant. "Karen Goodson, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit theft and financial fraud." Her clipboard hit the floor. The metal echoed like a gavel of justice. She looked at me on her way out, eyes still searching for power she no longer had. I didn't say a word, just watched as they led her past the door where the HOA rules were pinned, the same rules she'd used as weapons. The next morning, her house had a for sale sign out front. The zip-tie tag was still in my garage, hanging from a nail beside the rolls. Pam asked if I was keeping it as a trophy. I said no, as a reminder. I started the engine. The purr filled the air, smooth and confident, the way justice should sound. For the first time in months, the street was quiet. I looked at the house Karen used to call her kingdom and whispered, "Guess the law's got a better engine than you thought." Sometimes the loudest way to fight tyranny is just to let the truth idle long enough to be heard.